Good day, students. So, how's your day? Oh, that's good to hear. Before we begin, let's start with a prayer. Any volunteer? Yes, Miss Pentes. Now, let me introduce myself first. I am Miss Julian Lunar, and I am your teacher for today. I hope we'll get along. Now, I want you to introduce yourself too. Let's start with the first row. Thank you, class, for your participation. Now, let me check the attendance first. Is anyone absent today? Oh, that's very good. But before we proceed, we will have a short activity which is interpreting phrases. So I will show here the 3 phrases that I prepared, and I want to hear your answer. So number 1, we have the pen is mightier than sword. Number 2, lend me your ears. Number 3, I give you my heart. So anyone? Thank you, everyone. Now, what have you noticed to these phrases? Yes, Mr. Regis. Have you already heard about figures of speech? Well, I guess so, especially in your English classes, right? Well, there are so many figures of speech, and figure of speech is a word or phrase that is used in a non-literal way to create an effect. This effect may be rhetorical, as in the deliberate arrangement of words to achieve something poetic, or imagery, as in the use of language to suggest a visual picture or make an idea more vivid. In figures of speech, words are used in other ways than their literal meaning or typical manner of application. But for you, what comes to your mind when you hear figures of speech? Can you give me an example of figures of speech? Our topic for today is about figures of speech, but we will just be focusing on metonymy, euphemism, and irony. So let's proceed. Let us first define what is metonymy. Yes, Mr. Angelo David. Hey, that's correct, Mr. Angelo David. Very good. Well, metonymy is a figures of speech in which a thing or concept is not called by its own name, but by the name of something that is intimately associated with a thing or concept. So here are the examples. So we have 3 examples here. The first one is hand, which stands for help. And the number 2, academics, which stands for school. And the third one, we have ride, which stands for car. So it's your turn to give examples. Yes, Miss Flores. Okay, very good, Miss Flores. Thank you. Next we have, yes, Miss Collado. Very good, Miss Collado. Thank you. Did you already get what is metonymy? Did you understand? Okay, that's good. Let's move on to euphemism. So, any idea what is euphemism? Yes, Mr. Prino. Yes, that's right, Mr. Prino. A euphemism is a polite expression used in a place of words or phrases that might otherwise be considered as harsh or unpleasant, so they can help you avoid being overly blunt and remain in a tone of politeness. So here are my examples. So the first one, we have letting someone go instead of firing someone. And the second one, we have negative cash flow instead of broke. And number 3, we have between jobs instead of unemployed. So it's your turn to give me an example. Yes, Miss Carino. Okay, that's very good. So another one, Mr. Naelga. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Naelga. So I hope you already understand what is euphemism. So let's move on to irony. So any idea what is irony? Yes, Mr. Metsena. That's correct, Mr. Metsena. So irony is a literary device in which the contradictory statements or situations reveals a reality that is different from what appears to be true. So here are the examples of irony. So the first one, we have a fire station burns down. So this is unexpected because one would assume that the fire chief would keep his own building safe. So we have here second example, A pilot has a fear of heights. So this is an ironic situation because airplane pilots spend most of their time at work high in the air. Of course, I want you to give me an example. Anyone in the class? Yes, Mr. Regis. That's correct, Mr. Regis. Thank you. Another example? Yes, Mrs. Trito. So I guess you really understand the three figures of speech that we discussed. Am I right? Well, if you have any questions, let me know, okay? Okay, for our activity, please get one-fourth sheet of paper and write 3 examples each, which are metonymy, euphemism, and irony. I'll give you 10 minutes and you will pass your paper, okay? So, I hope all of you were able to submit the activity. So, can you share to the class what have you learned? Yes, Miss Damian. Alright, thank you, Miss Damian. Okay, we have Mr. Lopoy. Okay, thank you, Mr. Lopoy. So, I'm so glad that you have learned something in today's discussion. So, for our last activity, please get one-fourth sheet of paper again and answer these 5 items, please. You only have 5 minutes to answer and you will pass your paper. And for your assignment, please search for the other figures of speech and present it on the next meeting. Thank you, students. So have a great day ahead and class dismissed.